celebrating 30 years of OLP. Does it seem like 30 years?
Not even close. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's a good thing, right?
No. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's like, it's not just another tour because we are making that statement, but it really is. We have new music and everyone's, excited to be on the road. So it's just like, it's just an incredible tour, but it happens to be, putting a little bit of I guess, an homage to the anniversary.
Yeah, and an incredible lineup on the tour. Wintersleep, who's from Halifax but not playing the Halifax show, and Collective Soul. How did the lineup come together? Because it is killer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm friends with Paul from Wintersleep. Absolutely love that band. Love him as a singer, songwriter. I love his solo work. So we're like totally psyched to have Wintersleep on. And then, yeah, Collective Soul. I mean, we've known these guys. I've been talking about on stage. I've known these guys since like '98. First time we played in Atlanta, this huge festival called Midtown Music Festival. And then we played all these American radio shows with them over the years. And then about 7 years ago, they asked us to go out with them through amphitheaters in the US. And that was really got to know those guys well then. And they're just like, I don't think it's funny. I don't know if people know, like they're a serious rock and roll band. Like,
oh yeah.
Just to see them on stage live every night, like they're a rock band. So that's been inspiring and they're great guys. So it's just a lot of fun, which it should be,
Yeah, I always say Collective Soul doesn't get credit. Like when you think of some of the amazing riffs of the 90s, they came up with some of the best ones and they don't get their due, I don't think.
I think people know how great, like the songs are amazing. It's just, and I think maybe even with us sometimes, like when you see it live, it turns into a bit of a different animal. And you're right, some of those rock licks live, they're like, holy shit. They're huge, huge.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. I've never seen them live. Obviously, I've gotten to see OLP a few times, and always a great show. But it's like icing on the cake to get to see Collective Soul for the first time and then see you guys again.
For sure, for sure.
When you get an anniversary, like a 30th anniversary or anything like that, people get a little nostalgic. If you could go back to younger Raine recording Naveed, what would you tell them?
Honestly, I wouldn't change anything. I mean, it probably wasn't easy, but at the end of the day, they're all the decisions made and mistakes made are all important, So it's kind of why I don't get nostalgic, because I think it's all part of the process. And the fact that we're here playing, I literally think this is the best tour we've ever put on. It feels like the fans are feeling that as well. Like the ticket sales are crazy. It's such a great vibe in these arenas every night that it's like, you can go dissect things and say, I would have done this differently, but who cares? Like we're here, we made it here. So I wouldn't change anything. I would tell that kid to keep going.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it too, because you're right. If something changed along the way, maybe you're not at the 30th anniversary of OLP.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I agree.
And you're out there doing the live shows now, and I noticed that you brought the song Whatever back. Of course, that song for years was WWE wrestler Chris Benoit's theme song, and then, of course, attached to him, the tragedy that happened with his family. What made you guys decide now was the time to bring it back, and what was the discussion like inside the group bringing it back?
It's one of those things. So Whatever is our second highest streamed song in America. And there's something weird about it in Canada where it wasn't released properly up here. But like I said, it's our second most streamed song on Spotify in America and has been for years. So I always kept looking at that. And I was like, man, kind of trying to figure out, like, when do we get to take ownership of it back? And a fan wrote me one night, because I was just reaching out on Insta, talking to people, and I was like, yeah, we're putting the set list together. Want to know what songs you guys want to hear, and whatever came up on. I was like, what happens if we play this? And someone said something really kind of profound and just said, look, that song's been hidden away for however long. I understand, but no different than mental health being hidden away and trying to remove that stigma. I don't think it's a terrible idea to take that song out of the dark at this point too, and expose it for what it is and give it a new life and kind of take ownership of it back. So I love that, and that's kind of the theme we're going with. It's like, you know, there is obviously a huge mental health contingent to the events surrounding that song, but that stuff can't be hidden. So you got to talk about it, got to bring it into the open, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah, and I love, like, I saw the clip of you guys playing it, and you put up the number on the screens afterwards.
Yeah,
The help,
exactly. Yeah,
like,
the helpline.
as
Yeah,
someone that, you know, has depression, anxiety issues, I love that you guys are using that song and in a way to bring it back up to the forefront. So I think it's a really great job by you guys doing that.
oh, I appreciate you, Scotty. Thanks for saying that. It means a lot because it was, you know, it was, we're kind of on the fence for a minute, so I'm glad it's gone over well.
Yeah, I haven't seen any negative online about it at all, which is good. And believe
Yeah,
me, if there's negative to be had, it will be online.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
And you brought up online, like Instagram and stuff like that. And last time we chatted, when you were doing an OLP thing, it was Spiritual Machines 2, and you were doing the NFT with it and all that. And the crypto NFT worlds had kind of an up and down run over the last few years. Do you still see it the same way you did as like the next avenue for artists?
I'm a huge supporter of Web3 and the transparency that comes with, and direct payment to artists. The idea that if we can figure it out, artists can get paid when it's, you know, a ticket's on a secondary site and gets you know, resold. Like, an artist should participate in that resell. I'm a huge believer in all that stuff. What happened with the NFTs, and NFTs in particular, they got hijacked by like Ponzi schemes where people were just trying to make money. And so it really set that world back probably 5 years. But Bitcoin's kind of back now, and you see everyone talking about it. So I think it still has a second life. And a lot of technology like that kind of has these first like huge momentum and then pulls back. But the principles of Web3 in particular are still pretty strong. So I'm still a believer in it. I don't want to really push it on our fans because I know there's like ill will towards it right now, but I think there's something there where, you know, that kind of ledger that makes stuff impossible to like fake in the future. And like I said, even just with tickets, like just for that, from an artist perspective, that'd be great. So I think there's ways to make this stuff come back, and it's just going to take a minute.
Yeah, and I think like anything new, right? It gets the ups and downs, then people take advantage of it. And then, you know, after a cooling period, it comes back in more of a realistic form.
That's it. Yeah, it has to go through that kind of like transition. And you're right. You're 100% right. People really took advantage of it, and because of social media, it became these phenomena where everyone was hot on it, but then a lot of people got burned and rugged and stuff. And it that was such a small part of what Web3 is, but it's gonna take a minute, and that's fine.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I know you'll be on the cutting edge of it when it, you know, when it's there. Another cool tour moment that I wanted to get to is you were in Edmonton doing the show when Canada won the Four Nations.
Oh my goodness.
And I saw the video of the entire crowd singing "Oh Canada." Did you get to announce the goal on stage? Because the video I saw was just the crowd singing, or did people just instantly kind of stop the show because people got phone notifications?
We were watching the game kind of backstage, in like the owner's suite or something. Like, they set up this place because everyone was really excited about the game, obviously. So we're watching it, and I'm like, oh my God, like I thought for sure it'd be over before we had to go on. Good or bad, at least it would have been over. But it's like, we got to go on. So, and my wife sang the anthem right before, and she changed the lyric, which caused a lot of controversy. But like, I think she's a badass. And yeah, and then we go on, and literally we started with Naveed, and the Naveed, our agent from Toronto, was at the show, and our manager, and I've seen them like almost like jumping up and down. I'm like, okay, I think this is a good thing. And then within like, honest to God, Scotty, within like 20 seconds, like you could just tell everyone was on, the whole arena knew, like it just knew. And I was like, oh my goodness. I didn't know that McDavid had scored the goal, but it didn't take much. I was just like, we got to do this. Like, oh my goodness. And we started the anthem, and that is a moment I will never forget. It was so loud in that arena. There was so much validation from the anthem thing to where it's like, hey, like, isn't it crazy how a game can unite us like this, where everyone else is trying to divide us? A simple, silly hockey game that was supposed to be an all-star game just united this whole country and this city, and definitely everyone in that arena. And I've never felt more proud to be Canadian, which is so crazy, but it's true.
Yeah, I was gonna say that has to be your, like, if not the top, among the top on stage moments for you.
It might be the one and it's great. And look, that's the same thing when you said before, like, what would you tell yourself when you were like 19 in the studio? Like nothing different, because we got there. Like what happened that night could be the pinnacle, like you just said, of the career. And thank God, whatever brought us there in that moment is like, I don't want to question it. I just thank the, the gods for it.
Yeah, and being in Edmonton too, right? Like with McDavid scoring. So
Dude,
like,
in his barn, I don't even
yeah.
say that. Duncan taught me that. It's like in his home barn, it's just like, wow, what a moment.
Yeah, incredible. And you mentioned Chantal singing the anthem. Did she run that change by you beforehand? What were your thoughts?
Nope. No, she
Oh
did
no,
not.
I thought she would have got your thoughts on that.
No, no, I think, she's like all of us, just we've been, somewhat frustrated by the political talk about Canada being a 51st state. And it was never meant for her to be a protest. It was more just like, hey, we're celebrating Canada.
Mhm.
Like this is our anthem, this is our country, this is our game. And that was a change in the lyric. It wasn't anti anything. It was more pro Canadian than anything. Of course, all the networks, especially down in the US, made it some anti-Trump sentiment, but it wasn't at all. And I was proud as hell of her, like that took a lot of balls to do that. And I, from what my take from being up here, and I'm talking about it every night in these arenas, and everyone gets it. They're all supportive and couldn't be happier that she went there and did that. So yeah, I couldn't be prouder.
No, that was my take the next day. I was like, you think about how gutsy it was to do that. You're first off, just singing the anthem for that game alone is gutsy. And
Yeah.
then, you're gonna do that, you're gonna change the lyrics a little bit, and you're doing it in, like, for lack of a better word, enemy territory. Like that is
Yep.
gutsy.
Well, she was actually moved, she said, because it was really interesting. She started the anthem and she was getting booed. She goes, I don't, and it was kind of hard to tell on TV, but she said all of a sudden there was a lot of Canadians there, and they started singing louder than the Americans, and they drowned out the boos, and it really gave her the confidence to like go through with her decision to change that one lyric. And it was just, yeah, I just that night, like, highlight of our life, in terms of our family and everything. It was just crazy. It's just such a monumental evening on so many levels.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you guys, like, well, I mean, you live in LA, or I was following, well, I
Yeah.
follow you guys, and saw like the fires were pretty close to you guys. But in LA, but what's it like living there as a Canadian now? Do you feel any difference, or is it?
I mean, obviously, like our group of our friend group and stuff, they're pretty moderate and sensible people. But this talk of like the demeaning of Canada on that level, and the fact that it's like for sale and could just become part of America is such ridiculousness that, like I said, I haven't encountered it personally, like in the people that I know, but you do get, like, it changed the game for me. Like it's changed a little bit, and I just hope it goes away, and I hope it's
Mm,
just more bluster from who, because it's not good. It's not good for anybody. It's not good for Canadians to think that would be a good thing, and it's not good for America to think that it's a possibility. It's like we are sovereign nations. Our differences are incredible. It's what makes this world the place that it is having these differences and shared differences. And I'm sad that you know it gets so much airtime,
mm.
because I don't know how serious it is, but at the same time, who knows? It could be serious. And so I think at that point you need to take that stuff seriously, and definitely that's why Chantal made that change. And yeah, if there's anything that I'm uncertain of, is the fact that, like, is this going to go away in 6 months, or is this like something we have to deal with moving forward?
Right. Yeah. It's funny. Like I have friends that live in the U.S., and whenever something comes up, they shoot me messages apologizing. And I'm like, it's not you. You don't have to apologize. Like,
Right. Yeah,
you
that's
know,
how I feel too. I feel the same way. It's like most of the people are just like, this is ridiculous, but there is a faction of people who take it seriously, and I'm just like, man, like, we forgot our history. Like, this is craziness.
yeah. I mean, it's, it's the the person that helped set fire to the White House in the War of 1812 is buried in Halifax. So it's like,
There you go.
you know, I think I got one more for you, and it's kind of a looking forward. Obviously, we're looking at 30 years of OLP, but what are we looking for the future of OLP?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think this tour is solidifying not a legacy, especially in Canada, but there's a communication going on, and there's an appreciation that goes both ways between us and our fans and fans and us, and just in terms of, man, it's special. Like when you get to build a relationship with people over decades and respect that relationship and honor it and still bring your best out. And I just literally saw a girl in a gym at the hotel here in Saskatoon, and she just came up to me. She goes, "Hey, we had like this big group of people." She works for Air Canada. She saw the show in Kelowna like a few days ago, and she's like, "Yeah, big group of us." And she showed me some of her friends that bought. We have OLP hockey jerseys.
Nice.
They were wearing their hockey jersey. I was just like, man, and also the fact that she just came up to me in the gym while we're both working out and was just so cool, and just wanted to say thank you. And I was like, right back at you, like, thank you. And that, like I said, being able to nurture a relationship over decades is I have so much gratitude for that.
It's incredible. And I know, like you mentioned, like the ticket sales, I've had friends call like from Ottawa here, like, everybody, can you get me it? And it's like, leave me alone. But there's a palpable,
dude, I can't wait to get to Halifax. I
there's a
cannot wait.
palpable excitement for the show.
Yeah, I think we've done it right in terms of just like there is legacy, but there is new music along with this. It's just this, it's the next thing for us, and I think people are appreciative of that, and it just feels right. Like I said, I'm so thankful.